Is your algorithm serving you or slaving you?
They're like designed like digital slot machines. Like every time you swipe up, you don't know what you'll get.
Brain rot, we say that word. I feel that, man. I feel judged a little bit.
Our memory span from short-term to long-term memory, it's not transferring and coding well.
Welcome to the Spiral Up Health podcast, where we're redefining wellness and longevity and the future of health in an AI world with and Travis. Our mission is to help people spiral up in their health and in their life and teach you guys from our experience and leave you with practical protocols that you can implement to begin and continue your spiral up. Just a reminder, our 4 pillars on this pod are: how can we spiral up? By improving our nutrition, our body and physical self, our brain and connection. In today's episode, we will be focusing on the brain, and we have a really exciting topic that Aung has prepared for us. Tell us, what are we going to dig into today?
We are going to talk about brain rot, Oxford Word of the Year of 2024, and how brain rot is permeating into our daily culture and our mental and physical well-being, and how we should be aware and how we should tackle it. That's what we'll be talking about today.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but brain rot, we say that word. I feel that, man. I feel judged a little bit. I've experienced that, maybe not as much as others. And there's just so much that's changing on this front that could add even more to the brain rot in societies.
All right, before we dive deeper into this, I want to clarify what brain rot is. Brain rot is basically, it's nonsensical, it's short, repetitive. It can be overstimulating. It's usually viral trends, memes, and user-generated content that has like very, very little like of substance. And it's just for fun, quick, easy, attention-grabbing, short-form content. These type of content usually originate from TikTok and would permeate through other platforms like TikTok or YouTube. But like it almost always starts in TikTok, and it's everywhere. Like that's why like right now, even the dictionary word of the year is 6-7. It's part of the whole brain rot, nonsensical culture, and that's why we're talking about brain rot today.
So, like, is this different than doom scrolling, right? Like, because I'm an Instagram guy, not a TikTok guy as much. And so, like, how do you define, like, how do we know the difference between, like, maybe just endless scroll versus, like, true, like, brain rot? Do you feel like there's a difference, or are they similar or the same?
I would say those are interconnected.
Okay.
What do I mean by that? Brain rot, the type of content, it's like I said, it's repetitive, overstimulating, like nonsensical. But at the same time, when we're consuming content on TikTok or Instagram, we're looking at, educational stuff, and that will also be interlaced with brain rot content. But the thing is, I think for me personally, when I say brain rot, it's both about the content and the overconsumption of all the encompassing media. And we just get sucked into it. And that turns into doom scrolling, and doom scrolling creates basically brain rot. Like your brain is rotting because you feel like your brain is like melted after like a long session. Like, have you ever got sucked into like, you intended on only scrolling for 5-10 minutes, and the next thing you know, it's been over an hour. Have you ever done that for yourself?
Yeah, I will say I've probably experienced true brain rot for the first time kind of in the last like couple months. I'd say number one, most evident experience was when I downloaded Sora 2, bro. I don't know if you guys did that, but I was like, this is so stupid, but like I'm doing it. Like I know, but like you never know what the next reel is going to be, or it's not even called a reel. What do they call them on Sora 2? I'm such a millennial. So
AI generated slop.
yeah.
It's the word being thrown around right now.
Yeah. And then funny enough, I felt like I almost had more brain rot from like after a few hours of scrolling, a little bit of time of scrolling, I got into like this brain rot cycle of like creating, right? It was like you prompt the video, then you check it, and it's kind of this like delayed, but similar experience where I was spending like way too many hours just experimenting, tinkering but also just like consuming, right? Checking the algo, see what people are making, doing it myself. Like it was a super interesting experience. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is what they're talking about. This is the brain rot. My brain just felt melted.
Yeah, people do consider AI slop as part of the brain rot type of content. Just as case in point, like brain rot is not a real former medical diagnosis. Just it's a phenomenon, but it's like it's part of a bigger phenomenon. Doom scrolling and overconsumption media. Brain rotting is both for me is both the content and the feeling that you get at the end of it.
Well said.
And I feel like, the reason that we're so drawn to these type of contents, I would say there's three reasons. And one of them is like, these days the way that people wind down is looking at short form media.
Yeah.
Because it's like quick dopamine fix, but it's like because of that we're also creating these addictive loops. These like especially the short form content, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, they're like designed like digital slot machines. Like every time you swipe up, you don't know what you'll get. It might be a hilarious video, it might be educational, it might be news, it might be a brain rot content. That uncertainty itself like releases dopamine. Uh, not when you get the reward, but your brain when it's anticipating what the next type of content will be. That's the first reason that I've been seeing. One of the reason. And because of that addictive behavior that leads to like excessive screen time, because you're getting one dopamine hit after another and then another, and ultimately it leads to like cognitive overload. You have all the constant input, and what it leads to is like when we're trying to focus on one task, like deep work kind of like working now feels uncomfortable because you're accustomed to constant quick dopamine hits now.
Does like overly consuming AI content and like recent tech innovation breakthroughs count as brain rot? Because I feel like I've experienced some of these symptoms just in this age of information, right? Like I'm constantly listening to like a podcast that's like, maybe it's valuable, maybe it's not, but maybe I'll get some good nuggets in there, and that I resonate with that information overwhelm that you're describing there. For sure. And it's just so hard to put the phones down. I liked what you said, like the way we wind down at night, it's that phone in the bedroom. It's like, okay, I'm just going to scroll for 10 minutes, right? But then you're like not tired. And then, you stay up later and then your sleep's affected and yada, yada. It spirals down. So that's so good.
To go back to your first question, would AI generated video considered as brain rot? I would say so, but it depends on like what you created. A lot of the times, because it's still like new, they're just funny. Like I'm not sure if you've seen this before. There's a Yeti who's vlogging, and
No.
it's AI generated. The guy's like as if he's holding a camera or a GoPro with a selfie stick, and he's vlogging. He's a Yeti, and he's like rating campsites, but not in the intent of like trying to hurt people. Is it entertaining? Yeah, that it's nonsensical. Yeah, but at the same time, it feels light and enjoyable. I mean, especially during this age of a lot of heaviness in the real world. But for me, it's always about like moderation. Should you not totally like put up like these kind of AI slops? No, I think there's some fun value in it, but like it's how much you're consuming it and how much time you're spending on it. That's where the real problem is. It's always check and balance.
Yeah. Yeah. What apps like trap you the most? Which ones, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, or is that some other app?
I would have to say TikTok. I know a lot of people like don't like TikTok, but there's also a lot of people who are just like especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
For me, TikTok is both an entertainment and a source of information. If I want to find a quick, easy like meal prep, I would just go on TikTok first versus YouTube. I feel like their search algorithm, their search function is way better than Instagram or Facebook or I mean for YouTube YouTube is still good, but if I want a longer, more like detailed kind of like recipe type of video. How about yourself? What's your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, like I said, the true I think the true full 10 out of 10 experience of brain rot I had was like Sore at 2, bro. Just got so sucked in. And then I would even say, kind of around the time of all the Charlie Kirk stuff, just kind of the overwhelm and the chaos of just like wanting to figure out what's going on and listening to people. Like those were two times where I felt like this was an unhealthy relationship with this technology in a way that truly consumed me and not only took away the time that I spent on the app, but after the app, I felt my brain was just like in this weird space of unable to like kind of transition back into normal activities more so than like slightly longer Instagram session or something like that I wanted to. I was like, whoa, like this type of like, yeah, brain altering activity, brain rot must be what they're talking about.
Yeah, while I was doing research for this episode, there was a paper that was published earlier this year, around February. It's called Demystifying the New Dilemma of Brain Rot in the Digital Era. There are a few findings from the paper that I want to bring up that will resonate with our audience. First one, it says like because of all these like overload of stimulus and content and quick dopamine hits, what the findings from the paper, it says like in terms of memory, digital overstimulation reduces deep encoding. What it means is information doesn't transfer well from short term to long term anymore. That's one of them. And attention, man, like it's just like the whole social media revolution. We all know that our attention span is shrinking, and this paper just verify what everyone is feeling and facing right now.
It's super interesting.
Another point that they made was executive function. People reliance on instant answers lowers your patience from actual problem solving and reflection. We used to grow up, like especially as millennials, we grow up, if we need an answer, we actually need to go to the library, make our research, and the whole loop of action is longer, and now it's like quick answer, quick everything needs to be instant gratification. And another thing would be emotional health. It reports that there's anxiety, depression, and negative self-concept in these heavy users as in like heavy, like who are always doom scrolling. And I can attest to that. If I'm like scrolling on social media in general, I don't feel good about myself. I feel like I wasted the time. And because I feel like I wasted the time, it's like a negative loop.
Mm.
And I'm like have all these self-negative talks saying, "Oh, you wasted your time. You're no good." And you just have to be self-aware and stop yourself.
Can you repeat just the main point of those last 3 points? Those are super, super good. Real quick, kind of rapid fire.
All right, just to recap what I said, our memory span from short-term to long-term memory is not transferring and coding well. Our attention spans are decreasing really bad. Our executive functions in terms of like problem solving and reflection lowers our patience are lower. And the most important is like anxiety, depression, and negative self-concept is higher in these situations.
That is so fascinating. That is so interesting. Yeah, I won't nerd out too much on those, but those are all I can see each and every one of those. And these are all new for society, right? Like this age of information, instant gratification. Like this is the first time as humans we're all facing this collectively, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this in this magnitude and this like level of intensity and step function change, right? So I mean, it really is like this almost survival of the fittest moment for society in terms of people and how we choose to, steward our brain and steward our time and attention and memory, like these fundamental like parts of how we literally just operate as a human are being heavily affected by these new modalities and whatnot. It's so fascinating.
I would say like for the collective humanity, it's these type of simulation like like overconsumption of media and whatnot. Such a new phenomenon. It's like a such a blip in the actual full history of humanity.
Mm.
And yet, uh, but as humans, we're adaptable because of all these technology breakthrough. We're also are able to track everything down to the minute details and try to have solutions for everything now.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
Another thing that I want to like combine is like, do you have a habit of scrolling social media before bedtime? And if so, how long or how far apart before bedtime do you scroll? And do you feel like it affects your sleep or it doesn't affect your sleep at all?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I saw a study the other day that talked about like how watching or observing social media before bed literally spikes your cortisol that, can affect your sleep. Your cortisol will be spiked for hours, right? And which affects your sleep and sleep quality. This is something I haven't gotten. I change a lot. Like some habits I'm able to stick to right away and just sustain. And some habits I kind of like noodle on just depending on what's going on in life. And I think like kind of the phone and the bedroom one has been a hard one for me to really shake. Some people I know like sleep without the phone in the bedroom and that just like totally changes their down regulation, wind down cycle, we'll say. And I'm not there yet. I'm not there, but I think I aspire to be. That's like, next level up Trav, right? To get to aspire to. For me, I do look at my phone before bed. I usually have some red light blockers on. I also have a mode on my phone that's really easy. If you click it 3 times, 1, 2, 3, boom, it goes to pure red. It's the color filters. And so that also kind of helps with the light blocking, which is part of that cortisol spike. It's like, it's not just what you're looking at on your phone, but it's also the blue light before bed as well. But for social media, usually I think like I'm maybe 10% of the time doing a quick scroll on social media. A lot of times I'm just looking for some like really boring historical documentary on YouTube. Like YouTube algorithm has me figured out, bro. It's like, oh, let's go let's go through the history of Rome, 3 hour documentary in a sultry voice, like right before bed. So I'm gonna just have it time off after a while. So, yeah, I don't know. What about you?
About the 3 hour documentary, I guess that's your Roman Empire. That's have you ever heard about that saying before? What's your Roman Empire?
I remember there was like a fad going around like 2 years ago of like men think about Rome on average once a week, and I was like, of course we do. But
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that would be a Roman Empire. That's something that you think about. That's why you watch like Roman documentaries that are 3 hours long. That's your Roman Empire. Yeah, I'm also fascinated by both Roman and Greek, empires and recent past history and how those past history and politics affect and where we are today. And that's always fascinating in terms of learning how things are today.
absolutely. And I think it's like, I mean, I don't think people talk about this very much. Most people don't know history, not to segue too much, but like the Roman Empire in that ancient times, like the pinnacle of the ancient times truly was the Roman Empire, right? And then it decayed for all sorts of reasons that we can learn from. And then we had like kind of about 1,000 years of what's called the medieval ages, the dark ages, right? And like so much of society actually stopped progressing for almost like 1,000 years. It wasn't really until like the 1500s and the Renaissance where we started to see huge technological breakthroughs. I mean, there's a trickle effect. There was a small improvements, but there was just like a lot of war, a lot of chaos, a lot of
Mm,
disease, Black Plague, all this stuff for thousands of years until around the Renaissance, when we really started to see this trajectory that we're really hyper scaling up from now with modern society. So they don't call it the Dark Ages for no reason, but we often lose why that's the case. And so with this modern society that we're living in with AI and brain rot and sleep, it's like even the most basic things we struggle with. And it is kind of cool to be able to look back to someone like a Marcus Aurelius or a Socrates in the world before like any technology, but the pinnacle of society, and say like, what were some of the fundamental like beliefs or systems or wisdoms or principles that emerged from that culture of that time that literally are still practical today, right? And so kind of to go
I would
full
agree.
from Rome back to how we do life.
Really. All right. We've identified what brain rot is. We've talked about what the causes are. Let's jump on to something that will actually help our listeners, how do we rewire the brain, and how to reverse brain rot or doom scrolling? So
Nice.
I like what you shared us earlier, Travis, how you have that red light filter. I feel like that's one of like really unique tidbits that I've ever heard before. Like you've shared that before in a previous episode, and thank you for sharing that again today. And let's start with from that. I want to segue to like screen time. We should really be focusing on how much time and energy we're spending on each app. An average person these days spend somewhere between 6 to 8 hours on their phones,
Wow.
alternating between apps, whether it's for work, but like a lot of that is like unintentional use.
Hmm.
And just by reducing 30% will really improve your mood and concentration. Whether it's iOS or Android, there's always ways that you can cap your screen time or limit the amount of time you spend on each app. Like Instagram and TikTok have a built-in function as well on how much you are going to spend each day. Tip number 1, change your screen color so that it stimulates sleep. And tip number 2 would be segueing into regulating screen time.
Yeah. And to add on the regulate screen time, for me, it's like if you're in the app scrolling, it's kind of too late, right? It's like trying to say no to like candy when you're in a candy store. It's like, good luck, right? So,
Yeah.
how do you keep yourself from getting in the candy store to start with, right? And some other tactics there for me. Literally, take an audit of the notifications on your phone. We are so many notifications that are distracting us, and their whole goal is to get us into the app, get us in it. So it's okay. You don't need a notification for every app on your phone. You can open it on your, like when you need to, right? Look at this week, every day, look at your notifications every day and say, do I need these notifications? Like if it's not work related or something that you really, really care about or need to know, like consider turning it off. I did this last week. I do this probably once a year or every couple quarters, and just like turn off probably 60 to 70% of the apps. Because every time you download a new app, like unless you intentionally go into the notification settings and turn it off, like it's just not, it's going to be on by default and spam you everywhere. So that'd be my tip to, upstream, keep from getting into the app as well.
I like that. I have turned off notification for some of the apps. It's such a freeing, liberating feeling that you're no longer confined by these apps. They're no longer forcing you to check on them. Yeah, because I'm one of those person, like if there's tons of notification, I have to like look at them and check them off so that it's cleared off from the inbox kind of thing. But like turning them off have been like really liberating. From that, I would like to say like also curate your feed and be
Mm,
mindful of what you're consuming. Because like the saying, like the algorithm knows us best. They're
mm,
gonna push us content that we know that they know that we're gonna spend a lot of time consuming. So
yeah.
that would be a combination of slop and education and stuff. So when you're in these trenches of like slop and brain rot content, I hope you're mindfully consuming so that you can quickly snap out of it and scroll out or completely get out of the app.
Yeah, I really like that point, Ong. I think it's so wise. Like we sometimes play a victim mentality of like, oh, the algorithm, I'm sucked in, but it's like, is your algorithm serving you or slaving you? You know what I mean? Like, are you a slave to the algorithm, right? Just like going wherever it takes you? Or are you kind of like thoughtfully curating it? And yeah, there's been seasons of that for me. I'm like, I just go through and say, dislike, dislike, dislike to like 50 things that I know, like, I don't want this, I just don't want that type of content. And then go to the things I do want and say yes, yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
yes, right. And so that a little bit of intentionality can go a long way for kind of setting off in the right direction. So I really like that tip. Super good.
Yeah, because I've been also working on my like digital consumption being on the phone in general. Something that I've been preaching lately is go touch grass. Like, like, like if I'm feeling sad, I would tell myself or like anyone who's feeling sad or whatever, I'll be like, let's go touch grass together. It's just a euphemism of saying, hey, let's go do something like that's physical, that's outside the house, away from devices, just be physically active and be part of nature. And that has worked wonders for me. I
Yeah.
know, Travis, you're a bike guy. How does that resonate with you?
Oh yeah, just every time I come home from a bike ride, my wife's like, "You're happier when you ride your bike." I'm like, "I know, I feel like a schoolboy, like 10, 5 years old." Like, all right. But it's true, man. We were made to move. We were made to, be in nature. There's so many benefits there energetically, sunlight, cortisol. There's so many things. Like the whole grounding movement, I believe in, man. Like I get this like urge whenever I go and walk with my wife. Sometimes we have this like park nearby, and I'm like, I just want to take my shoes off and get in the dirt. Like I don't know. I don't
I
think
love that.
like I think there's like a true reduction in stress and whatever on the body when we do these things.
I'm in the Bay Area, so there's a lot of beaches, even though you can go swim in it. Every time I'm at the beach doing my touch grass session, I love like taking my shoes off and just feeling my
Mm.
feet in the sand and just like walk on it. It's just so grounding and like the feeling of being part of nature cannot be really described in terms of like natural it feels.
Yeah. And I think this brings up a really good point, and that is like the brain rot is just kind of like taking a full like deposit on your bank account of dopamine, right? Like, but it's not a
Exactly.
good return reward ratio. And so you're just totally giving away all of your dopamine for something that you weren't made for, right? It's not serving you. But I think there's like healthy forms of dopamine, healthy forms of endorphins and serotonin and, oxytocin that come from these more self, truly serving you activities like being outside, going to touch grass, right? But in the short term, they still like if I just got off a brain rot session, I go touch grass, you're not going to feel that reward, right? You're not going to feel it immediately. You
Yeah.
have to kind of create some space and continue to do so. And then you'll start to get the reward from these like normal things that are actually good for you. And so I feel it, I equate it to sugar. I'm a carboholic. And it's like, man, if I'm just eating candy every day and then I go eat an apple, the apple's okay. But bro, if you like don't eat any processed sugar for like a month, apples are like candy, man. They like taste so
Exactly.
good and like they're good for like it. Your brain takes some time to kind of rewire this like dopamine equation and reward system. And so again, just a caution to people. You might not feel it at first, but like stick with it.
Yeah, it's all about rewiring our dopamine reward system because social media gives you dopamine hits. You have all these natural stuff also giving you dopamine hits. And we have to self-regulate ourselves between the two.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, getting down to my last tip is not using the phone before going to bed. Well, I know it's hard even for me and for Travis, but like trying to have no screen like 1 hour before will will bring you down from all the cortisol spikes, all the dysregulation in your body, and really help you transition from the end of the day to like actually winding down and sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of the 3-2-1 rule. Like, stop eating 3 hours before bed, no food, meals. 2 hours before bed, stop doing work or mentally stimulating tasks. And then 1 hour before bed, stop the screen time. And I would say, especially like take audit of what disrupts your sleep and ruthlessly eliminate anything that gets in the way. Speaking to myself, right? But anything, when you start between 8 and like 1 a.m., like whatever is on your time agenda or attention agenda in that period of time, take audit of it because sleep is so important. It's the foundation of health in every single way. So this is brain rot can definitely be, I think for most people, it's probably one of the bigger culprits for sure.
Yeah. All right, Travis, we've covered like a good foundation for what brain rot is, what it does to our body, and how we can combat it. I hope our listeners got a few new information from this episode. And the next one will be connections. We'll be covering something based on one of our pillars, which is connections. So see you all next time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Owen. This was awesome. Awesome time. And stay off your phone, kids. We'll see ya.
Bye.